everybody, and welcome back to the British School Diary. Today, in our Motivation Monday series, we have a special guest, Roberto Zinna.
Hi,
Hi, Roberto, how are you?
doing well, yes.
Well, we're going to talk to you about motivation because you passed C2 Proficiency exam last year,
Yes.
right? And you really need to be motivated in order to get to such a high level.
I guess so, yes.
How did you do that?
Well, I would say that probably uh, it's a motivation that comes from passion. I really like English, not because I need it in my future. Yes, it's a good side effect. But I guess the main motive that I have for studying English and continuing to pursue the language is probably because it allows you to broaden your horizons and come to know many cultures and many people that you couldn't communicate with if it wasn't for the possibilities that English gives you, and any language for that matter.
Has it always been like that? Because I suppose many people would like to get to high level, right? But they maybe don't feel that passion for
I
languages. They just need the certificate. Do you think they can also achieve that goal?
Well, I guess if you do it only for the certificate, you could, but I think everyone to get to the top level of anything in life has to have a more inner passion than usual, because you wouldn't have the motivation to get that much if you didn't have a strong uh, and deep uh, motive before.
Right. So you never had a moment when you wanted to give up, when you didn't feel like studying English, going to your English classes. Actually, I remember you were at middle school, I suppose, when you started studying with us, and now you're
Yeah.
at university.
Yes. Well, when I got to C2, but that doesn't mean that I didn't have my low and more, how could I say, struggle moments. But I guess that the passion got over all of that. So, like, I mean, you have to be motivated. It doesn't mean that you don't have those bad moments when you want to give up. The important is to get back on track as soon as possible.
All right. And do you remember the period when you were preparing for the exam? How intense was it? Because actually, you took the exam straight after your final exams at school, right? Your exams were in June.
No, it was for the year
It was
before.
the year before,
Yeah.
okay. But you were busy at school anyway, right?
It was a struggle because I decided to take C2 only a month before doing that, because I decided to do C1. Then you told me that I could get C2 if I studied a bit more, and so I decided to do C2 instead. But there was that month, that period that was really difficult, because I had to practice on all those new topics that we didn't touch in class, because we had done C1, but I managed at the end of the day.
So what's the difference between the C1 and C2 level? Because many students think they aim high, right? They want to take C2, but
Well, there's not that big of a gap. It's certainly it's smaller than the gap between B2 and C1. That's a lot bigger. It's much more difficult. You have much more topics to study. But the problem between C1 and C2 is polishing. There are not many differences, but in C1 is much more permissive. In C2, you have to be much more precise with vocabulary, with grammar, sentence construction. Even in the speaking, some mistakes that in C1 you can maybe afford to do, in C2 you shouldn't.
That's right.
So it's a matter of polishing more than adding something new.
That's true. So you need to also use more sophisticated vocabulary, right? Because I have to say, you did a great job with that. When we did the final practice tests, I have to say that your writing and your speaking was really at top level. So how did you do that? Do you remember?
The points, the
Vocabulary, because you really
Oh.
that month you said when you did personal full immersion, and that's another point we have to mention, I suppose, to whoever wants to take C1 or especially C2 exam. Don't believe that lessons are enough.
No, I think I got to that point in vocabulary because I started living in English basically. Anything I did, apart from speaking with others, because you usually don't speak in English with someone that speaks Italian with you. But with everything that I did alone, it was in English. Watching movies and TV series, even searching on the internet, watching YouTube videos. That I did before, but I set my phone in English, and since then I didn't change it, because a good thing is that English is such a broad language that it's easier to, if you have a problem with your phone, for example, it's easier to find a solution in English than in Italian, because you have more results when you search for it.
Another issue many also ambitious students face is the time management. How did you manage to find time? Because you're so busy. Teenagers nowadays are so busy with schoolwork, so very often students want to do a lot, want to get to high level, but they cannot find time.
Well, when you try, like for that month that I studied a lot, you have to sacrifice something. Maybe it's going out with your friends one evening and you say no, or for example, maybe that one jog that you wanted to go for, you're not gonna go. But in general, I think time management is something that comes natural once you get inside the flow. I've been studying English for 12 years now. With you, I think it's 8 or 6, something like that. So I'm used to English inside my routine. Right. So intensifying that a bit wasn't that difficult. Okay. So if you're constant with it, there's no problem. There's not a real problem.
So we spoke about the past. Now let's talk about the future. You're here also to say goodbye to us, and we're very sad to see you leave. It's flying the nest, and you're moving to Milan.
Yes, I'm going.
By the way, thank you for the cake.
Oh, it was
Roberto prepared a cheesecake for us.
It was a promise, 2 years old promise. Okay.
But it was worth waiting.
I guess so.
Cheesecake, you were great. So you're not only good at English, but also at baking.
I guess.
Well done, and thank you so much. Tell us about your future plans.
So I'm moving to Milan to do cinema. But my plans in general are to, as I said before, broaden my horizons. The more experience and in general, how can I say that? Things that I have to try, that I can try, that is my goal. The exploring all the possibilities. So I'm not going to Milan only because I'm studying cinema. Yes, that's the main reason, or maybe the simplest to give to someone that asks you. But to be fair, I'm moving just to experience something new and more and different from what I've been living for 18 years now and here.
Well then, best of luck and thank you for
Thank
coming here. We'll be waiting for you for your updates, and we hope that you'll pop in when you come here for Christmas.
I'll try.
Thank you again.
Thank you too.